Oh my god, I have never disagreed more with the critics' consensus in my life. Oh, okay, please, if you are a fan of the Assassin's Creed games, watch this review. This is an honest to God review of the movie as a diehard fan of the games. With that, let's continue on to the review. What's up, movie fans? Welcome to Men vs. Movies. I'm Griffin, and this evening I'm going to be bringing you my review of one of my more anticipated films of the year, I must admit. As a diehard fan of the game, you probably guessed it from the beginning. Yes, I'm talking about Assassin's Creed. Now, this is a game that I've wanted to see adapted for the longest time. Honestly, probably since I've played the first Assassin's Creed. I think the source material is incredibly cinematic. I love the whole concept of going back through the memories of your ancestors. So Assassin's Creed is directed by Justin Kurzel. For those of you who don't know, Justin Kurzel did a little film called Macbeth last year with the two main stars of this film, Michael Fassbender and Marion Cotillard. Yeah, you know what? I have a review of it. You can go check it out if you want to hear my thoughts on Macbeth. But he's not the only one coming back from Macbeth. Michael Fassbender playing our main assassin here, Marion Cotillard, who's working for Abstergo Industries, Jeremy Irons, who's kind of the head of Abstergo Industries and a Templar himself, and Brendan Gleeson. Yeah, he's in this movie. I really forgot about it. He has a very small part. It doesn't really matter. So the plot of this film, well, if you've played the games, then you'll know it by now. Callum Lynch is sitting on death row. He gets injected. He's supposedly dead. But no, he's abducted by good old Abstergo Industries because he's got a link to a key historical figure that knows the location of, you guessed it, the Apple of Eden, which is this mythological device that really just controls free will, stuff like that. If it's in the wrong hands, they'll be able to take over the world. And if it's in the right hands, it'll keep everyone safe. There you go. That's all you need to know. So, yes, Callum Lynch, he goes back to 15th century Spain during the Spanish Inquisition. He embodies Aguilar, his ancestor. They try and find the location of the apple, and yada, 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 the story progresses. A lot of people were thinking this was going to be the one. This is going to break that video game trend of being bad movies. And I gotta say, guys, this is the best video game adaptation we have ever gotten. It is a fun movie. Was it the greatest film I have ever seen? No, but it's good. And I don't think the people who are bashing this movie really understand Assassin's Creed, because that's one thing I will say. This is a movie for the fans of Assassin's Creed, and they do it justice. They do the game justice. It nails the tone and feel of Assassin's Creed, both inside the Animus and outside. The cinematography is beautiful, especially inside the Animus in 15th century Spain. Holy crap. And speaking of being in the Animus, every time they went into the Animus, they played out the sequence, they came out of it, it felt like I was playing the game. And that's probably the biggest praise I can give this film, is as someone who has actually played the games, I felt like I was playing the games. Now, sure, the whole movie doesn't take place inside the Animus, as some people, I guess, were suspecting. That's okay, because the out of Animus stuff is very reminiscent of the Assassin's Creed 1 stuff. A lot of that whole thing plays out very similarly to the first game, which I don't have a problem with. I actually enjoyed the out of Animus scenes, and I thought that it helped build a nice, larger story, whereas in the Animus, we were getting kind of a contained story that would be continued on through like future ancestors or stuff like that. Ultimately, that's what the Out of Animus stuff does. It kind of brings it into a larger context. Marion Cotillard is very similar to the Kristen Bell character in the games, although towards the end, they kind of deviate away from that. Jeremy Irons, as the head of Abstergo Industries, is basically the exact same as the head from Abstergo Industries in the game. He doesn't have as much screen time, but he's still the same. Callum Lynch, he's a little less charismatic than Desmond, but the Desmond elements are there. He's ultimately trying to become the ultimate master assassin through his memories and stuff like that. And then speaking of Callum and his memories, the bleed effect. It's when Callum has gone into the Animus, he's experienced his memory, he comes out and he starts seeing visions of his ancestor, Aguilar, of certain events that have gone down. The two realities start to blend together for him. That's perfect. It was exactly like it was in the games. You're going to hear me saying this a lot because they nail a lot of that stuff. I guess while we're on the topic of characters, I'll talk about the acting. Acting's great. I mean, we really should expect nothing less from people like Michael Fassbender, Marion Cotillard, Jeremy Irons, Brendan Gleeson. I mean, you name it. Everyone does a really good job of playing their characters, especially Michael Fassbender. I love him in this role. I knew from the moment he was cast as the main character, that's it. That's the perfect guy for this movie. You son of a bitch, you nailed it. Marion Cotillard was probably my second favorite character. She was really good. She gives a solid performance. The action in this movie is fantastic across the board, most notably in the Animus, as you would expect. The stunt choreography is amazing. They're doing some really impressive stuff during the hand-to-hand combat scenes, or really jumping off of buildings, doing some horseback choreography. There was a lot of time and effort that went into the stunts performed during this movie. I really gotta applaud the stunt team, especially that guy who performed the leap of faith. Oh! Next thing I gotta talk about here is the music. The music truly enhanced the scenes it was in. It had phenomenal build-ups. It really just kept the energy in the movie going, kept the momentum going. It made me more excited when the action scenes came up. I really liked the score for this. Lastly, as far as positives go, because I have a few negatives, this is exactly what I wanted from an Assassin's Creed movie. Having been a fan of the games, a fan of the franchise, a fan of this lore, it really satisfied me. Alright, some negatives, because I do have a few. The main negative that I have with this movie is there are times when the story gets a little muddled. Now, doesn't that sound familiar? Yeah, much like in the Assassin's Creed games, the main overarching story kind of gets a little muddled and hard to follow at times. But as someone who's already used to that from the games, I didn't have a problem with it, and ultimately you really ended up piecing it together and getting it towards the conclusion of the film. Next negative, which is probably going to be a lot of people's big negative, character development. Yeah, it's about the same amount of character development you get from the Out of Animus characters in the game. They get the same sort of development in the movie. It's not great, it's not god-awful, but it definitely could use some work. My final negative with the movie is that I would have liked to have seen a little bit more action and a story inside of the Animus. You're not going to be disappointed by the Animus stuff, because it's fantastic, but you'll want some more, and I know I wanted a little bit more of that. We're used to playing a 15 plus hour story, so we're able to spend a little bit more time back in history, and I realized that they had to condense that in a 2-hour movie. And yeah, those are my ultimate thoughts on Assassin's Creed, guys. I really enjoyed my time with this film. Like I said, as a true fan of this franchise, I thought this film did it more than justice. Yeah, the story is ridiculous. They're chasing after a stupid apple of Eden, but that's what it is in the game, so I don't want to hear that complaint. The story overall makes sense. And I think if there is, by some miracle, a sequel, because I pray to God that this film gets a sequel, it deserves it, that they'll be able to expand upon that a little bit more. And then they'll get into the real weird and deep Assassin's Creed lore. So I've been struggling on how I want to rate this film, because on one hand, I want to rate it as a critic, and on the other hand, I want to rate it as a fan of the game. So I'm just going to give you both of my ratings, and I'll let you decide for yourself. As a movie reviewer, yeah, okay, it's good, it's not great. So I would ultimately be giving this film in the fight, because it's in the fight, it's putting up a fight, but it's gonna get a little beat up on the process. As someone who loves Assassin's Creed, and will probably go see this movie again, I'll give it Armored Up. Thanks guys for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed my review of Assassin's Creed. Go see it for yourself. This is one of those films where, yeah, you can listen to reviews all day long, but ultimately, I think the deciding factor in whether or not you will like this movie is if you actually go see it. Go see the movie, support the film. I want to see a sequel, please. If you have seen Assassin's Creed and you think I'm full of shit and completely disagree with me, leave your comments in the comments section below. I'd love to argue with you. And then while you're down there, why don't you hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for movie reviews, movie talk show, trailer reactions, all sorts of movie-related content you can just search around and you'll have a good time. Also be sure to like Men versus Also be sure to like Men versus Movies on Facebook and follow us on and following us on Twitter simply by searching Men v Movies. This is a shit show. If you like me personally and you like what I have to say, you can always give me a follow on Twitter at Griff Schiller. Alright guys, well, I've talked about Assassin's Creed enough. Fun fact, I bought the pops already. I bought my pops. I'm ready. I'm happy. Until next time, guys, take care.